Okay, welcome back to the deep dive.
Great to be digging into this one.
Yeah, so today we're tackling generative AI again. We've sifted through, well, a ton of recent analysis reports from late 2025, trying to figure out where things really stand.
There's just so much chatter, isn't there? Our goal really is to cut through all that for you.
Exactly. Filter out the noise, deliver the key insights you need, like right now.
And the core thing we found, the thing that jumps out from all these sources, is this huge contradiction, a
Yeah.
real schism.
Schism. Okay,
Uh,
explain that.
Well, on one side, you look at the headlines, the financial news, it's all AI gold rush, right?
Hmm?
This narrative of just unstoppable exponential growth, massive valuations, that's the 30,000-foot view.
Right, the big picture looks amazing. Trillions of dollars, massive productivity boosts predicted.
Exactly. But then you talk to the people actually doing the work, the enterprise leaders trying to implement this stuff on the ground floor.
And the story changes.
Completely.
Yeah.
It's all about stalled projects, costs spiraling out of control, real frustration and struggle. It's a huge disconnect.
So that's the schism, hype versus reality.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And, that gap tells us exactly where we are in the typical tech life cycle. GenAI it's definitely left the crazy peak of inflated expectations. We're landing smack bang in the middle of the trough of disillusionment.
Okay, trough of disillusionment sounds bad, like failure.
It sounds bad, but I think that's the wrong way to look at it. It's not really failure. It's more like a necessary reckoning, a sorting out period.
So we're calling it the great refinement.
Exactly. Disillusionment forces realism. It's painful, but it's how technologies mature.
Yeah.
But look, before we dive into the messy parts, the struggles, we have to acknowledge the sheer scale of the hype that got us here. The financial momentum is just staggering. You can't ignore it.
Okay, let's quantify that macro boom then. The market conviction seems, well, almost absolute.
It really does. Global AI market projections. We're talking north of $240 billion now, with some forecasts going towards, wait for it, almost $3.5 trillion by 2033.
3.5 trillion.
Yep. That implies a 31.5% compound annual growth rate,
Yeah.
sustained for years. It's huge.
And the investment reflects that, right? Especially in the U.S.
Oh, yeah. Private AI funding here hit $109 billion. That's like 12 times what China invested. And companies are doubling down. 92% plan to invest more in GenAI over the next 3 years.
And then you have these massive economic impact forecasts. Goldman Sachs talking about a 15% boost to global GDP. Accenture predicting a 35% productivity jump in the U.S.
Right. I mean, that kind of forecast from those institutions, that signals real structural belief. It's not just fluff.
And the stock market's betting the farm on it, too.
Absolutely. AI-related stocks. They now make up something like 44% of the S&P 500's total market cap.
Wow. What was it before?
Just 26% in late 2022. So a massive shift in just a couple of years. The market has clearly decided this tech is the future, period.
Okay. That context is crucial. So the money's there, the belief is there. But if the future is so certain at that level, why are so many businesses struggling down here on the ground?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Or maybe the trillion-dollar question.
Maybe. So let's pivot to that enterprise reality, the GenAI divide, as we're calling it.
Right. And the first dose of reality is the ROI deficit. It's just stark. We have to square those huge investment numbers. The $30–40 billion enterprises have already poured in.
Yeah.
With this finding, a shocking 95% of organizations are getting zero measurable return on that investment.
Wait, say that again? 95%.
95% getting zero measurable ROI.
That's staggering. That should be the headline right there. So how do we reconcile that with the success stories we do here? What about that 3.7x average ROI number that gets thrown around?
Ah, yes. That's a classic case of statistical skew. Averages can be really misleading.
How so?
Well, imagine you have 100 companies. 5 of them, the absolute leaders, get maybe 100x return. Incredible success.
Oh.
But the other 95 get 0. If you average that out, the math still gives you a positive number, like that 3.7x.
I see. So that average is completely pulled up by the tiny fraction of massive winners. It doesn't reflect the typical experience at all.
Exactly. The experience for the vast majority is flatlining. They're spending, but not seeing the results on the bottom line.
So companies are trying, they're running pilots, but they're falling into what you call the pilot to production chasm.
Precisely. They can get something working in a lab, a proof of concept, but scaling it, integrating it, making it actually deliver value across the business, that's where it falls apart.
And the numbers bear that out.
They do. About 60% of organizations are evaluating these enterprise systems, running pilots, lots of activity.
Okay.
but only 5% successfully deploy them into production in a way that delivers real measurable value. 5%.
Wow, that's a brutal attrition rate. No wonder the C-suite is getting restless.
You got it. Fewer than 30% of AI leaders say their CEO is actually satisfied with the Gen AI returns so far.
Which explains why Gartner is predicting, what, 30% of projects just get abandoned?
Yep, 30% abandoned after the proof of concept stage by the end of this year. Quietly shelved.
We also need to be careful about confusing usage with strategic deployment, right? Like, lots of employees using ChatGPT doesn't mean the company has a successful AI strategy.
That's a critical distinction. You see these high adoption figures, like 71% usage. But often that's just individuals playing around with public tools.
Like asking ChatGPT to draft an email or summarize a document.
Exactly. Useful for personal productivity, maybe, but totally unsanctioned, low-stakes stuff. It doesn't connect to the core business processes or the P&L.
So the strategic systems, the ones that need deep integration and real organizational change, those are the ones facing that 95% rejection rate.
That's the crux of it. The organization often just isn't ready for that level of transformation.
Okay, so why aren't they ready? Let's dissect this. If we're in the trough of disillusionment, what's causing this failure gridlock?
Right. We sort of grouped the barriers into 4 main categories based on the research. 4 big roadblocks.
Let's take them one by one. The first one you flagged is maybe surprising. The human element. It's more cultural than technical.
It really is, fundamentally. The failure often starts with people, not the algorithms. Yes, there's a skills gap. That's real. But the deeper issue, it's a trust deficit.
Trust deficit, meaning employees don't trust the tech. Or management.
Both, often. Look at the public sector example. 58% of employees are actively afraid AI will replace them. Nearly half, 44%, are uncomfortable even experimenting with the tools.
Wow. If your workforce sees this thing as an existential threat.
They're not going to embrace it, are they? They'll resist, maybe passively, maybe actively. They'll find reasons why it doesn't work. It sabotages the whole effort.
And organizations aren't doing enough to address that fear, the reskilling piece?
Generally, no. Only about 5% of companies are seriously investing in reskilling people at the scale needed. They hand out the tools, but don't provide the training, the reassurance, or the new career paths. That breeds fear and resistance.
Okay, human element, trust deficit. Got it. Barrier number 2.
The strategic void. This is classic tech hype cycle stuff.
Fear of missing out, FOMO.
Exactly. So many projects get launched simply because everyone else is doing it, or our competitor just announced something. There's no clear business case.
They haven't asked what specific problem are we solving or how will we measure success?
Precisely. So you spend millions on a pilot, but you never define what success looks like. Is it cutting costs, improving speed, boosting quality, by how much?
And if you can't measure it?
You can't prove its value. And when the initial excitement wears off and the results are vague, the executives pull the plug. An expensive tech toy without a clear business transformation goal is doomed.
Makes sense. Okay, barrier 3. You called this one the most critical, technical debt, specifically the data crisis.
Yeah, this is huge. When we talk technical debt here, it's not just old code. It's the whole tangled mess of legacy IT systems most companies have built up over decades.
And the data within those systems.
That's the real crisis. An estimated 57%, almost 60% of existing company data isn't fit for purpose for AI. It's siloed, it's inconsistent, it's poor quality, it's duplicated. It's a mess.
And that's fundamental, because if you feed a large language model garbage data...
Garbage in, garbage out. You get unreliable outputs, hallucinations, biased results, which immediately tanks user confidence and feeds right back into that human trust deficit we talked about. See how these link?
Yeah, it's a vicious cycle. And just integrating the AI into those messy legacy systems is hard work, too.
Brutal. It's not plug and play.
Right.
Developers are finding they need to stitch together like 5 to 15 different tools and platforms just to get one Gen AI application working within their old environment.
That sounds incredibly complex and fragile.
It is. High maintenance, difficult to scale, expensive, all because the underlying data and systems weren't ready.
Okay, data crisis, that's a big one. What's the 4th barrier?
The governance gauntlet. Basically risk management and compliance, or the lack thereof.
Companies are scared of the legal and ethical risks.
Terrified, especially in regulated industries. Think about it. Data privacy, potential bias, intellectual property issues, copyright infringement. The risks are significant.
And they don't have policies in place.
Very few do. Only about 21% of organizations have actually established clear policies for how employees can and can't use Gen AI. Add to that a really fragmented global regulatory picture, and you get paralysis. Legal departments are hitting the brakes.
Okay, so human element, strategic void, data crisis, governance gauntlet. That's quite the gridlock. It paints a bleak picture for the 95%.
It explains the trough, absolutely.
Yeah.
But the flip side is, confronting these barriers, that's the refinement process and the companies that push through this.
The visionaries.
Exactly. The top, say, 16% or so who are achieving genuinely modernized, AI-driven processes,
Yeah.
they're building a massive competitive advantage.
And the results show that.
Clearly. The data shows these leaders are achieving 2.5 times higher revenue growth than their peers stuck in the trough. That gap, it's only going to get wider.
Okay, so let's unpack their playbook. How are these visionaries navigating the great refinement? Starting with Pillar 1, foundational strategy.
Right. The first tactic seems simple, but it's powerful. Embed GenAI, where work already happens.
Meaning don't make people go to a separate AI tool.
Exactly. Don't build standalone apps if you can avoid it. Integrate the AI capabilities directly into the core systems employees use every day. Their CRM, their ERP, their collaboration tools.
Like the Morgan Stanley example, building their GPT assistant right into the Wealth Advisor platform.
Perfect example. Trained on over 100,000 of their own internal reports. Advisors don't switch screens. The AI is just there in their existing workflow.
Seamless adoption, and it leverages their unique data.
That's the key. Proprietary knowledge delivered seamlessly. Okay, tactic 2 under strategy.
Adopt a multi-model strategy, not just bet on one model.
Yes. Avoid vendor lock-in. Smart companies are using a mix of models, maybe a big, powerful one like GPT-4 for complex tasks, but also smaller, specialized, maybe even in-house models for simpler, high-volume queries.
Like Instacart routing different queries to different models.
Exactly. It lets them optimize for cost, for quality, for speed, and critically, it keeps their options open. Strategic flexibility.
And the third strategic tactic sounds fundamental. Quantify value relentlessly.
You absolutely have to. Link every single AI initiative back to clear, measurable business outcomes, no more vague AI transformation projects.
So instead of just tracking usage, track actual impact.
Right. The biopharma example was great.
Yeah.
They didn't just say, we deployed AI. They tracked a 25% reduction in drug discovery cycle time.
Yeah.
And $25 million in direct cost savings.
Now that's a result that keeps the CEO happy and the funding flowing.
That's how you get from pilot to production. Concrete, quantified value.
Okay, strategy covered. Pillar 2, technical and operational excellence. Given the data crisis, what are the leaders doing technically?
The big buzzword, and it's important, is RA, Retrieval Augmented Generation.
RA. Okay, what's that do?
It's the main technical answer to the hallucination problem. Basically, before the AI generates an answer, the RIG system forces it to first retrieve relevant information from a trusted, verified knowledge base, usually the company's own internal data.
Ah, so it grounds the AI's response in the company's reality, forces it to show its work using approved sources.
You got it. It dramatically increases the reliability and trustworthiness of the output, combats hallucination, builds user confidence.
And they build this with governance in mind from the start.
The smart ones do. Governance by design. Like Pfizer, their internal GenAI tools had things like audit logs and pre-approved prompt libraries built in from day one.
Which smooths things over with legal and compliance, I imagine.
Massively.
Yeah.
And builds trust immediately because users know the outputs are traceable and based on vetted information.
Right. Okay, finally, Pillar 3, people and process enablement, the soft stuff. That's actually really hard.
Crucial stuff. And the key tactic here is investing in deep, role-based fluency, not just generic AI 101 training.
So training tailored to specific jobs.
Exactly. Look at Visa. They launched specific prompt engineering training for marketing, different training for product teams, different training for legal. Each group learned how to use the tools effectively and safely for their specific tasks and risks.
That makes so much sense. It's about application, not just theory.
Right, and some companies are getting really clever, actually using AI itself to help with this enablement piece.
Using AI to train people on AI.
Kind of meta, right. But look at Deutsche Telekom. They built a GenAI coaching engine for their call center agents.
How did that work?
It provided real-time personalized feedback and coaching modules during calls, helping 8,000 agents improve their skills. The result, better performance and a 14% jump in customer satisfaction. They used AI to make the workforce better at using AI.
That's brilliant. Okay, so this refinement playbook strategy, tech, people, shows the path through the trough. But looking ahead, what about the next wave? GPT-6, whatever comes next. Will that make things easier?
Based on what the experts are predicting,
Yeah.
probably the opposite.
Really? How so?
Well, the focus of the next-gen models doesn't seem to be about simplifying today's enterprise problems,
Hmm.
like data cleaning or basic integration. It seems to be about exploring fundamentally new capabilities.
Which means more complexity.
Likely, yes.
Hmm.
For example, one strong prediction is a shift for models like GPT-6 from just being a content generator
Yeah.
to becoming more like an active language interrogator, a semantic risk sentry.
Okay, unpack semantic risk sentry. What does that mean?
It means the AI wouldn't just generate text. It would proactively analyze language, both its own outputs and user inputs, looking for subtle signs of deception, bias, logical fallacies, or manipulative intent. It becomes a tool for analyzing the risk embedded in language itself.
Wow. That sounds incredibly powerful for things like compliance, fraud detection, maybe even negotiation.
Huge potential applications, yes. But think about the implementation challenge.
Right. It sounds like a whole new layer of management and oversight needed, new skills required.
Exactly. It introduces more complexity, not less. You need skills in, like language behavior management or interpreting the AI's risk analysis. For the 95% of companies still wrestling with just getting their basic data ready for today's AI.
This just widens the gap.
It widens the maturation gap, absolutely. The leading edge keeps moving further out, faster, while the majority are still stuck on the first few steps. The adoption bar keeps getting higher.
So the takeaway here isn't wait for GPT-6 to solve our problem.
Definitely not. The takeaway is that true success with GenAI now and in the future isn't about waiting for the next shiny object. It's about doing the hard, unglamorous work now.
Building those foundational capabilities, clean data, clear strategy, robust governance, and really enabling your people.
That's the core message from all this analysis. The current schism, this trough of disillusionment, it proves that scale is a double-edged sword.
How so?
For the few who get the foundation right, AI scale magnifies their strategic success massively. But for the many who don't, it just magnifies their operational failures, their costs, their frustrations. This refinement period isn't optional if you want to be on the right side of that divide.
Which leads us to our final provocative thought for you, the listener. If your organization hasn't really tackled its foundational issues, the data mess, the cultural resistance, the lack of strategy, consider this.
As these incredibly powerful, but also more complex next-generation AI models start to arrive, is your biggest competitive risk the advanced technology you don't adopt? Or is it the fundamental, foundational work you keep putting off?